You're proud of those scars, aren't you? Those marks on your skin. Those badges of survival. Those proofs of pain endured. Let me tell you something about battle scars. The ones that show on your skin, they're just the prelude, the visible chapter, the surface story. You think you're strong because you've bled, because you've been cut, because you've been broken and mended? Child, that's just the beginning. Let me show you about inner wars. The ones that don't leave marks on skin. The ones that carve trenches in your soul. The ones that build empires in your mind. You see those veterans? The ones with medals and scars? Ask them about the real battles. The ones they fight at 3 a.m. The ones that rage behind their eyes. The ones that echo in their silence. Physical scars? They heal in patterns you can predict. They fade with time you can measure. They mend with methods you can learn. But inner wars, they don't follow maps. They don't respect time. They don't obey logic. You think you're battle hardened because you've taken hits, because you've survived blows, because you've endured pain. Let me tell you about the war that rages when everything is quiet. The battle that burns when lights go out. The fight that starts when peace seems won. Inner wars don't end with surrender. Don't finish with victory. Don't pause for peace talks. They're fought in territories no map can chart. In landscapes that shift like dreams. In battlefields that change with thought. Your physical scars, they tell stories of moments past, of battles survived, of wounds healed. But inner scars, they tell stories still being written, of wars still being fought, of battles still unfolding. You think strength is about how many hits you can take, how many wounds you can survive, how many scars you can show. Let me tell you about the strength it takes to smile when your soul is screaming, to stand when your spirit is broken, to hope when your heart is bleeding. Physical battles end. Visible wars conclude. External conflicts resolve. But inner wars, they're fought in endless rounds, in infinite variations, in eternal recurrence. You're proud of surviving physical pain, of enduring visible trauma, of overcoming tangible obstacles. Let me show you about the wars that leave no visible scars, that show no external signs, that bear no physical proof. The war against doubt, when everything you believe is questioned. The battle against fear, when everything you trust is shaken. The fight against despair, when everything you hope for seems lost. These are the real tests of strength. Not how much you can bleed, but how much you can believe. Not how much you can endure, but how much you can envision. Not how much you can suffer, but how much you can sustain. Your battle scars tell stories. Let me tell you about the stories. Written in invisible ink, carved in silent screams, painted in unseen tears. The war in your mind, when peace seems impossible. The battle in your heart, when love seems unreachable. The fight in your soul, When faith seems unthinkable, these are the campaigns that test your real strength, that prove your true worth, that reveal your authentic power. Physical wounds, they heal with time. They mend with care. They fade with age. But the wounds of inner wars, they transform you. They transcend you. They transfigure you into something beyond scars, beyond survival, beyond strength, into a warrior who knows that real battles aren't fought with fists or weapons or force, but with faith and will and spirit. You think you're strong because you've survived physical pain. Let me show you about the strength it takes to survive yourself, to face your own darkness and not look away, to feel your own fear and not run away, to bear your own burden and not break away. These are the battles that forge real strength, that build true power, that create authentic might. Your visible scars, they're just the cover of a book whose real story is written in invisible ink, in the silence between heartbeats, in the space between thoughts, in the void between breaths, where real wars are fought, where true battles are won, where authentic strength is born, not in the clash of bodies, but in the conflict of spirit, not in the exchange of blows, but in the evolution of soul, not in the marking of flesh, but in the making of character. You want to know about real strength? It's not in how many scars you carry, but in how many internal wars you survive. Not in how many wounds you show, but in how many invisible battles you win. Not in how much pain you've endured, but in how much purpose you've found. These are the wars that never make headlines, that never earn medals, that never show scars, but they're the ones that truly define you, that really shape you, that actually forge you into something beyond what physical scars can tell, what visible wounds can show, what external battles can prove. Because real strength, it's not in the marks on your skin, it's in the steel in your soul, the fire in your spirit, the truth in your heart. That's what inner wars forge. That's what internal battles build. That's what invisible struggles create. The strength that transcends scars. A power that surpasses wounds. A might that exceeds marks. So yes, honor your battle scars. Respect your physical wounds. Value your visible victories. But remember, the real wars, the true battles, the authentic fights, they leave no visible marks. They show no external signs. They bear no physical proof. Yet they forge the strongest steel, build the mightiest warriors, create the truest strength. In the silent battles, in the invisible wars, in the internal struggles, that's where real power is born. That's where true strength is made. That's where authentic might is forged. Not in the scars you can see, but in the wars you can't. Not in the wounds you can show, but in the battles you can't tell. Not in the pain you can prove, but in the strength you can't explain. That's the truth about battle scars and inner wars.
Think I'm hiding in the shadows.
Are you ready to fight
I am the shadow.
the battles that leave no marks? To wage the wars that show no scars? To win the fights that bear no proof? Because that's where real strength lives. That's where true power dwells. That's where authentic might resides. In the wars within. In the battles unseen. In the fights untold. That's what makes a real warrior. Not the scars they show, but the wars they know. Are you ready for that truth? Because here's what they never tell you. Physical scars eventually fade, but inner victories eternally resonate. External wounds eventually heal, but internal strength continually grows. Every day, warriors walk around, showing their scars like credentials, displaying their wounds like badges, presenting their marks like medals. But the real warriors, they carry their strength in silence. They hold their power in stillness. They contain their might in peace, because they know true battles aren't won in moments of violence, but in instances of choice. Real wars aren't fought with weapons, but with will. Authentic victories aren't claimed with force, but with faith. Let me show you about the battles that rage beneath smiles, that burn behind laughter, that roar under silence. These are the wars that transform weakness into wisdom, that turn trauma into triumph, that forge fear into freedom. So yes, respect your battle scars, honor your physical trials, value your visible victories. But remember, the greatest wars you'll ever fight will leave no marks on your skin, but will rewrite the story of your soul, will reshape the landscape of your spirit, will reforge the essence of your being. That's where true strength is born. Not in the scars you carry, but in the wars you survive. Not in the wounds you show, but in the battles you win within. Are you ready for those wars? The ones that never end, but always transform. The ones that never show, but always matter. Because that's where real warriors are made. Not in the field of visible battle, but in the forge of inner war. And that's a truth no scar can tell, no wound can show, no mark can prove, but every real warrior knows. So let me ask you again, you think battle scars make you strong? Let me show you what strength really means.
Tonight,
It's not in the marks you wear, but in the wars you wage inside. Every morning when you wake, a new battle begins. Not with fists or weapons, but with the demons of doubt, the specters of fear, the shadows of past defeats. These are the battles that matter, the ones that shape you, the ones that make you, the ones that break you and rebuild you, over and over again. Your physical scars, they're just the prologue to the real story of your strength. The visible chapter, in an invisible epic, the tangible preface to an intangible saga. Because true warriors know, the hardest fights leave no marks, the deepest wounds show no scars, the greatest victories bear no medals. They're written in the steel of your spirit, carved in the granite of your resolve, forged in the fire of your faith. So wear your battle scars with pride, but remember, they're just the surface story of a much deeper war. They're just the visible signs of an invisible transformation. They're just the physical proof of a spiritual battle. And when the day comes that someone sees your scars and calls you strong, remember this truth. Your real strength isn't in those marks. It's in the wars you fight when no one's watching, when no one's keeping score, when no one will ever know. That's where true warriors are made. Not in the moments that leave scars, but in the battles that leave wisdom. Not in the fights that draw blood, but in the wars that forge character. Keep fighting your inner wars. Keep waging your silent battles. Keep winning your invisible fights. Because that's what makes a true warrior. Not the scars they bear, but the wars they win within. And that's a strength no scar can show, no wound can prove, no mark can measure. But every real warrior knows its truth. Every true fighter feels its power. Every authentic battler carries its wisdom in the quiet moments, in the silent struggles, in the invisible wars. That's where real strength lives. That's where true power grows. That's where authentic might dwells. So fight on, warrior. Not for the scars that show your past, but for the strength that shapes your future. Not for the marks that tell your story, but for the wisdom that writes your legacy. Because in the end, it's not about how many scars you carry, but how many inner wars you've won. Not about how many wounds you show, but how many silent battles you've survived. That's the truth about battle scars and inner wars. Now go, fight your battles, wage your wars, win your fights. Not for the scars they'll leave, but for the strength they'll forge. Not for the marks they'll make, but for the warrior they'll create. Because that's what real strength is about. That's what true power means. That's what authentic might creates. In the wars within, in the battles unseen, in the victories untold. Forever fighting, forever growing, forever becoming. That's the warrior's way. That's the fighter's path. That's the battler's truth. Not in the scars we show, but in the wars we know. Not in the wounds we bear, but in the battles we dare. Not in the marks we wear, but in the strength we share. Fight on, warrior of the inner wars. Your greatest battles leave no scars, but forge the strongest stars.